Und wir sind live. Oh, in German. We are live. Yeah, almost the same. Welcome to another episode of Pure Clothing Kind. Actually, I'm so sorry. I have the wrong background here.
We're still getting used to it. We're getting used to it.
Yeah, you don't have to learn English. You don't have to learn German to follow us along. Obviously, we're doing this in English. Sorry about that. As you can see, I was on vacation. Thank you so much, Kevin, for continuing to do the show with Alex. Alex was very psyched, so I think you had a couple of really good shows, you both.
Yes, we had a great time. And we missed you a lot. How was your vacation?
It was amazing, and I didn't miss you at all. Don't take it personal.
Wow. Noted, Marcus. Noted. Where's Alex? Somebody get Alex.
No. I mean, it was really. I had a great vacation just with the family, with the kids. It was really good.
Look him. You look good. You look very relaxed.
Always am. Thanks, man. And you've been traveling as well. I heard you were at a similar web event a couple of days ago. How was that?
From now on, I mean, basically from after Labor Day, which was Monday, until Thanksgiving, I'm at a conference, I think, once a week. It's going to be absolutely nuts. So SimilarWeb was great. Great location, great crowd, great panel. You know, it was one of these events that was not salesy, not like overly promotional, but just like coming together, having some good conversations. So it was great. And then next week, I'm going to be at Digital Olympus in Amsterdam. The week after, back in London for a G2 event about AI. After that, flying to San Diego and Toronto. Then I have Amsterdam again for Summer Spotlight.
Summer Spotlight, there it is.
Yes,
it's going to be amazing, really good. After a great first show last year, it's going to be really good. Yeah, I'm so looking forward.
Are you coming? Are you will be there?
I probably won't be able to come there, but nevertheless, as a lot of people from our team and everybody's super stoked about it. As I think they're doing a fantastic event there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know last one was a big success. This one is cool. Yeah. They do a great marketing campaign too. They have this whole music album cover thing. It's super fun. Very good job. And then I'm finishing the year at in Salzburg at the SEO Con.
I think you missed one more event. I hope you're joining. I mean, I don't know anything otherwise. But
it's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer,
okay.
Marcus.
Thanks so much. Because in 2 weeks, we actually have the SEO Oktoberfest G50 Summit. We're going to start off with the SEO Oktoberfest. Actually had a lot of people that got a charity ticket to actually be with us at SEO Oktoberfest. So this is going to be a lot of fun, a little bit different this year. And then obviously we're going to have the G50 Summit from Monday till Friday. All the all-stars, but also very good new faces. I'm so looking forward to this. And actually, one of the faces that's going to be there is the face of Hans Cronenberg. Good morning, Hans. I know Hans has some amazing data, so I can't wait for him to share a little bit more on at the G50 Summit. Hence, it's good that you are there. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this, and this is really the only event I'm doing right now, and for me, it's more than enough. But obviously, I also have Bits and Pretzels just the week after. Obviously, I'm also going to be there. But other than that, you know, after the lot of vacation, I got to do some work. That's it. You know, I got to do some work. Exciting work on my desk, and yeah, it's so much better than flying around, you know, not seeing the family, not seeing the kids, having to prepare presentations and all that stuff. I'm just doing SEO every day. I don't know.
You did it right. You know, every year I'm telling myself, okay, Kevin, next year you do much less SEO Oktoberfest every year. That's a no-brainer, right? But all the other things, I try to set a high bar, and then for some reason I end up on like 10 conferences. So I don't know, man. I need a better firewall.
Just learn to say no. By the way, we got to welcome Dragan here to the show. Welcome, Dragan. Ahoy, Dragan. That's nice. And also Mahat is here. Hola, Mahat. Great you're here. Oh, well, so I think we have a lot to talk about. I mean, like, obviously, a lot of stuff has happened again. This is Ricky. You come back from vacation, and there's so much stuff happening. I try to make a little bit sense of it, try to put it into a timeline, and now I'm just going to throw it at you. obviously we got to talk about one thing first. Yeah, rest in peace, Alan Bleiweiss. Yeah, I would say one of the OGs in our industry just passed away. Obviously, this is super heartbreaking for everyone that knew him, for his family, and everyone, but also for the wider SEO community. Because, as I said, he's been one of the OGs. Interestingly enough, I met him a couple of times personally. I remember 20 years ago partying with him at PopCon Vegas, and also a couple of more instances where I met him, but I never had a close relationship with him. Yeah, I mean, just never really happened. So I wasn't also able to chime in here in this post, but nevertheless, obviously, want to give a farewell also from here, from the show, to one of the SEO OGs, Alan Bleiweiss.
Plus one to that, RIP, my condolences to the family. And as always, it's nice to see the community come together. Even though I didn't really know Alan or didn't have a relationship with him, it's always heartwarming when, the community honors someone, even who hasn't, I mean, in my radar hasn't been that active recently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice. It's good. It shows how strong the community is.
Absolutely. Oh, by the way, and one thing he coined, and I think this was genius, by the way, also just as a spectator, so to speak, because he coined this phrase, forensic site audits. I love that term. When everybody's talked about site audits and site auditing, and he did forensic site audit that had that additional spiel of, like being like a cop, like a detective, like being really thorough. It's also, I really like that branding and how he did this with the forensic SEO audit. So yeah, head tip to this. This was again, obviously, a marketing genius, and here it showed. Yeah, definitely.
Clearly.
All right, let's talk about two big topics. First, one obviously is the spam update. It's still rolling out. I just looked at it. It's still rolling out, so we're not finished yet. So please be careful with. Voreilig. Was ist denn voreilig?
Rushed judgments.
Right. Oh, so be careful with the rushed judgments. There can still be a lot of volatility here. I mean, obviously, you all know the game. So you can only judge it when it's all done. But the impact has been felt, and quite quickly. We see a lot of people. Obviously, also Glenn Gabe, who's watching a wider range of sites, but also smaller sites. Other webmasters are really chiming in and saying, "Hey, yeah, my spam got torched." I mean, Google loves to read that kind of stuff, obviously, but I had a sense of a lot of people actually posting in the forums that that their stuff got torched. So I guess Google did a good job. And there must be something under the hood. And I just want to just quote Gargon here really quick, because he wrote about a podcast interview with Google's VP of Search, Robbie Stein. So he was on a podcast with Zain Khan, and he actually said something in the podcast here. And let me read this to you real quickly. I mean, we think about this a lot. And actually, there was a change recently to, really make it a lot harder for really low value content that probably was designed more to siphon traffic, to manipulate in ways wouldn't be able to get the right how that type of impact on the system. So there's a lot of kind of attention and understanding that really well, and being careful there too, obviously. And this sounds to me that, I mean, this came right before the spam update. The spam update is just rolling out, that they did a big change, or rather larger change to the algorithm that really fares well with fighting spam. And this has actually been rolled out, or what do you make out of this?
It's hard to say, man, because like a lot of the big domains that I looked at haven't lost any organic traffic.
But they're not spamming, right? I mean, like
that's the thing, right? Like it's, I think spam really in this case relates to a lot of affiliate sites, a lot of sites that typically play in spammy waters. not saying all affiliate sites are spammy, but I'm just saying, all the white hat industries are not affected by this. It's much more the kind of like, I would say competitive money industries. And there you see mixed signals, right? So you see NerdWallet is down a little bit. You see Bankrate is up a little bit. And it's always difficult to say what moved the needle. Was it content? Was it backlinks? Right? What was it both? And how does Google detect these things? So, it's very hard to say. But for me, the kind of way to judge whether this was a lasting effect is how long it takes for these sites to recover. Because what I'm seeing with a lot of spam updates is they get this initial hit, they're down 20, sometimes 30%, maybe 50 in some cases. A year later, they're back to their previous performance, right? And so, is this a single hit or is it going to stick?
Yeah. I actually also saw a lot of sites that actually fared quite well in the core update and then got hit by the spam update. But this is, again, I mean, like what we see very often, this is like different systems being updated here. And so the core update actually thought, hey, this is going to be really good content. But then the spam update, it actually came in and said, oh, I think I did something not good here, and let me reverse this real quick. Obviously, it's always this interaction between the different systems. But it was quite interesting to see a lot of these core update winners actually getting, pulled back a little bit, maybe due to overly aggressive spam tactics. Yes. By the way, Dragan says Google operates differently in the affiliate space. The system is easier to game and volatility is significantly higher. Yeah, I know that. That's why I'm not an affiliate anymore. It has been a long time. So the next big topic I want to talk to you about, and this is a huge topic. This is mainstream, like our industry going mainstream, because obviously I'm talking about, the landmark search monopoly ruling. Judge Mehta, no pun intended. It's an H in here. Finally came down with a decision, and judging by the stock price jump that the Google stock did, it sounds a lot like, a lot of people are very happy with the result. We were talking about, you have to sell off Chrome. You might have to sell off Android. You can't do these deals with Apple, with Samsung anymore. And now it's, yes, you can still do these deals, but they shouldn't be exclusive. I mean, there's a lot of white space in there. Then the Chrome Android seemed too harsh for Judge Mehta. For different reasons. And now what it comes down to is Google will have to share data, like valuable data, coming from Glue, like all the URL keyword click pairs, sort of like how many clicks certain URLs getting and all that stuff. And a lot of other stuff that should go to qualified competitors. So I think we're going to let's talk about all these different all the different things I just summarized real quick. So what do you think about this Urteil? Also the
ruling.
The ruling. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. Don't
worry.
My
English.
Yes. We're learning together. I think it's disappointing. To me, it was very disappointing. I think it was always unrealistic that Google would sell Chrome or it had to divest Chrome, better said. I think that was always unrealistic. However, I think there have been no real consequences for Google, right? They can keep the deals with Apple. And if it's not the search deal or the browser deal, then it's just a deal with Gemini, which is already in the making. So I think there's a missed opportunity. And the biggest missed opportunity to me is to level the playing field when it comes to AI. So right now, and you and von Hülsen will disagree with me, I know. So let me put this to context. But right now, you cannot really block Google's AI crawlers while not also blocking yourself in Google search, right? For most people, and again, Johan has found a way to do this, but for most people, they cannot separate the two. And that, to me, is a very unfair advantage Google has. And why I think it's so disappointing is because Judge Mehta said in the ruling that he believes that Google has more competition because of AI, right, from ChatGPT and all these other LLMs. But at the same time, he missed the fact that Google has a massive competitive advantage and the playing field is not level, right? So I think I would have expected a ruling in that direction to say Google has to allow webmasters to separate general web crawling from AI training data. That has not really happened. And I think the data sharing is not going to matter much. First of all, competitors are going to get 2 snapshots of the data. They're not getting a data feed or an API. They're getting 2 snapshots of the data, and I think 2 snapshots of the data within 1 year. And Google is going to appeal. So
this is gonna be a long time since I mean, like, obviously they're gonna appeal and appeal and appeal. It's gonna be a couple more years.
It's gonna be years, and even if Google loses that, by the time that they share the data from regular search, it's going to be all about AI, right? So I think this ruling was disappointing, also because the judge had such strong words in the initial ruling before the remedies.
Because there is a ruling that Google acted as a monopoly and acted wrongfully as a monopoly. There is a real, it's done. It was really just about what's the remedy, so to speak, and it seems like a very mild remedy for a pretty substantial rule break, to phrase that. But I think what happened, and I listened to the New York Times Daily this morning, so the excellent New York Times daily podcast, and they were also discussing this ruling. And I think the timeline is super interesting here, because this was brought forward, I think, in 2020, I mean, like, obviously it takes a long time, and this is when the whole AI craze basically started. And if we wouldn't have had the AI craze, if we would still be in the, like, Google, like, there is no AI search. Basically, it's still Google and Bing and like the world, that's not there anymore. But right, just like a couple of years back, and we would still be here without AI search. I think this ruling could be a lot different. But
sure.
Yeah, but this helped Google so much, because now the lawyers could actually get in and could say, hey, look at this. There's different competitors coming. There's ChatGPT, there's Perplexity, there's all these different competitors coming. There's all these competitors gaining market share. Our market share is going down. So we're not a monopoly anymore, right? Because now we're in a completely different playing field. You said it correctly. They didn't include like the structural advantage Google has in that AI game, right? And I think it wasn't like properly put on the scale, so to speak. Yeah. But nevertheless, the rules has changed. There's new competitors coming in, and you also see that there are different search products that can just come out of nowhere and all of a sudden are like really can compete in regards to search market share with Google. Although it's like very low right now, but still we're talking about OpenAI, which is not very old as a company itself, right? So I think this played a big role in here and helped Google so much, being in this now different ecosystem where it's like really hard for a judge to like say, I don't know if I should be more extreme because I already see this happening, right? So it maybe wouldn't be fair. Yeah.
It's
I can
a tricky
understand,
one,
but I can't understand. Yeah.
The thing is, I would have loved to see either the government or Google make the case to say that OpenAI is taking away market share. Of course they can't, because their stock would tank overnight, right?
Yeah.
But that argument, interestingly, didn't happen. And so if I would be the judge, right, and I see there are all these AI players, I would ask for the data. Like, if I think that this is real competition, then show me the data that shows that this is competition. Actually, the strongest argument, I think, came from Perplexity. Because Perplexity made a bidding for Chrome for $34 billion. And so I wonder, was that one of the signs that made the judge think, oh, if one of these new competitors can make a bidding for Chrome, that must mean that they're competitive. I don't know. It's, again, are you happy or satisfied with the ruling?
Oh, again, I can understand it. Yeah. But I can't understand. I think this was a big chance to level a little bit more, the playing field a little bit more. That's gone now. And and I mean, what's really going to happen? Because let me see what Cyrus says here. Yeah. Court rules Google must share data with competitor. Looks like they'll be forced to share, the basic search index, glue, use click data to build SERPs, and rank embed. But the thing is, that I don't see this happening, right? I just don't see. I mean, like, it's going to be more years of repealing and whatever, right? But I cannot see this happening. Not at all, or having the impact that the judge or other people think it's going to have. This is just not happening. Also, this is it's just not going to have that impact overall. There's also this guy here, Victor Wine, also wrote a great article here. Forcing Google to share a secret isn't competition. He also says, there's so much wrong here with this ruling. Here, think about what search index data actually represents. This isn't just raw information sitting in a database somewhere. It's the result of the decades of research, billions of dollars investment, and countless hours of engineering work. Google's algorithms don't just magically know which websites are most relevant for your search. They've learned this through processing trillions of queries, analyzing user behavior patterns, and constantly refining their understanding of what people actually want when they type something into that search box. And the court's decision means Google must now share this hard-earned knowledge with competitors who haven't made the same investment or taken the same risk. Imagine if you told Toyota they had to share their hybrid engine technology with every car manufacturer, or required Netflix to hand over the recommendation algorithm to every streaming service. I think it's a very interesting stance. Yeah, and I can also understand this perspective of this Victor guy. But he basically also says that all the data that's in here, again, this is not just data in a database. You need to do something with it. Yeah. And
I think it's the same argument as saying, a self-made billionaire, should not pay higher taxes because they earned their money. And I do agree with that statement in part, but I think it also comes with a responsibility, right? With great power comes great responsibility, to quote a wise philosopher. And so there is obviously, like, when power aggregates, then it also leads to potential consequences for others. And I do agree, like, a lot of, Google's success is, like, mostly the result of what they have done. However, if you argue that, for example, first of all, if you argue that Google is a monopoly, that means they did some things that were not competitive, right? Like the deals with Apple. And if that's the case, then even though they had good technology, or still have the good technology, right, and they earned part of their right, it also means they got an unfair advantage. I think it's fair to say we're going to reduce Google's power to some degree so that we can even out the past missed chance to kind of rule against it. Now, I will also say it's very, very difficult to have a perfect ruling. You cannot separate the egg white from the egg yolk, right? Like, once it happened, it's very hard to make it unhappen. Like, I mean, once you had these deals with Apple, right, all these years that helped Google grow more and more, it's very hard to say what would the world have looked like without these deals, right? So I take Victor's point in that sense, but it doesn't change my opinion much in terms of the disappointment of the ruling.
Absolutely. And by the way, talking about this, again, the deal, also remember the Bing guy actually saying, Apple saying, we didn't want to include Bing because Google is just the much better search engine. That's it. Also, it's not about they give us a lot of money. It is a lot of money, right? 20 billion. But nevertheless, they're also saying this is just the much better product. That's it. And this is what Google has done, right?
And I probably agree.
Yeah. So we don't like the ruling, but there also came some interesting tidbits out of this again. And what I found very interesting is that AI overviews actually use fast search. And this is very interesting. So when they basically ground their answer, their response, they're using fast search.
Fast search.
Yes. And this is basically, as a fast search is based on rank embed signals, so a set of ranking signals, and generate abbreviated ranking web results that a model can use to produce a grounded response. Fast search delivers results more quickly than search because it retrieves fewer documents, but the resulting quality is lower than search fully ranked web results. So it's faster, but obviously quality is not that high. And this actually explains a lot when we saw in AI overviews like spammy pages being cited, where you're like, what? This page isn't even ranking. This page, there was this page that was basically de-indexed on the Google index, but it showed up in an AI overview. And this is exactly why this is happening. So this is a very interesting tidbit. And also have this confirmation that this is not the general map index that is being used for grounding, but rather this fast search, obviously, which makes a lot of sense because it takes a long time anyway. So I at least want to have a faster grounding with the help of this fast search index. So this I thought was quite interesting that came out of this court case.
Yeah, it is fascinating also because I had this interesting conversation on LinkedIn with our friend Dan Petrovich. And we had this conversation about an index. We're talking specifically about how hard it is to build an index and whether OpenAI builds an index for ChatGPT. Turns out, yes, they do. But I wonder, do they need a web index and ranking that is as high quality as Google's, or are they also using a trimmed down version like fast search? And I think that would be very fascinating because, to your point, right, it's important for us to understand, like, what is the source that AI mode draws from, right? So just as an example, right, imagine you have an affiliate site and you get penalized for Google search, but you can still be visible in AI mode knowing it's a different index. That could be very interesting.
You could even be a little bit more pushy, maybe, because you don't fear being de-indexed because you're still faring well in the AI mode.
Exactly.
Interesting strategy, yeah. And going from like Google saying, "Hey, we've got competition. Let's look at the data," because we got a new survey out. ChatGPT AI tools gain traction as Google search slips. So high visibility has these stats here, and it shows here from 73 to 66.9. ChatGPT going from 4.1 to 12.5. So this is all general information searches. And by the way, this is only a panel of 1,500 US users. So obviously a little bit small panel, but nevertheless might have some validity to it. So don't take the numbers, take all the numbers with a grain of salt. But nevertheless, it definitely shows a trend. And also what happened is a lot of people, for example, people that use AI tools daily has risen almost doubled, from 14 or more than doubled from 14 to 29.2. And the never guys, that there were 28% of people that never used it is now at 16%. So a lot of more people that have never used it have actually used it, and the people that have used it daily continue to use it daily and use it even more, and even more people are using it daily. So I mean, this is definitely something where Judge Meta is like, yeah, look at this. There's competition. But when we see all this, and I think this is the major point, I want to point to the SEMrush study here. ChatGPT is not replacing Google. It's in fact expanding search. And this is really interesting. And I love the study here. And especially these numbers, because you can really see that before using ChatGPT, you had 10.5 sessions on average per week on Google search. And after using ChatGPT, it even gained, it's 12.6. And then also, obviously, the users also search more on ChatGPT, but nevertheless, they also tend to search more on Google. And by the way, this is Datos data. This is real data. This is Clickstream data, right? So this is gold. So you can really see it's expanding search, and it's not really cannibalizing what you might think when you look at these numbers. By the way, there are lots of graphs that basically underline this point, but I think this is the most interesting graphic to make this point.
Yeah. I mean, the data is super robust, and I love that SEMrush did the study because I think it's just a smart way to look at the data. What are the cohorts? And this is important, right? Because reality is that different groups of users start using ChatGPT at different times or new technology at different times. So I love the approach. I love the data. I think it's very interesting because It builds on some previous data that showed that people are using AI to, I think, a third in a generative way, meaning they do tasks instead of just searching. So that's important to keep in mind. And then there's also the question, okay, then why do we have data that shows that Google is being that Google search is being used less often? And I think part of the answer is, like, what do people use Google search for? Now, something you wouldn't do on ChatGPT is navigational search, right? You don't go to ChatGPT and then type in SEMrush to go to semrush.com, but you do that on Google. And so I wonder, like, how much of Google's usage and people still using Google is navigational? How much of that is maybe even local search, because that is also by far better than ChatGPT? But how does it look for informational searches, right? And soon, how does it look for shopping searches? So my wish to the SEMrush team would be a follow-up study looking at the same data, but segmented by use case. What are you trying to do?
Super interesting. I mean, this would be phenomenal, right? That you could see, like, okay, like informational searching is being like siphoned away by the JetGPTs and all that stuff, and being stuck with navigational queries and, like, make any money out of navigational queries. They try, but you're not making a lot of money with that, right? So it's I mean, like, obviously the informational queries are not also, where the money is, but it's the transactional searches. And obviously, if you do a specific type of searches not anymore at Google, could also lead to you not doing these transactional searches anymore at Google, and this is where the money is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, quite interesting. But I like the idea to even break it out even more into the specific types of what people do with it, because I'm also there. I see a lot of people using it for agentic stuff, or basically do this, do that for me kind of thing, which just is not possible on Google. I mean, like, obviously it's now also possible on Google, but like it's not the traditional search, so to speak, right? And yeah, this is also how I use it. Also, it also hasn't changed for me, so I guess that could be for others. By the way, Sparktaurus says the same thing. Rand did some research, traditional search is not declining. Also very interesting, right? You can really see, also basically it's pretty much the same, although you see AI tools, like really gaining traction. But if you look at it overall, it's just complementary. This is really how it looks like. It's really complementary, and traditional search is right there. It's all good, right? Nevertheless, in this time, habits are forming, right? Also, it obviously this is sort of like a flywheel, and could lead to also other searches being done on these other search engines. But right now, it looks pretty steady, and it's just like an alternative for different kind of searches that you now can do.
But you're right. It's okay. You want to? Sorry,
I just wanted to promote Hans
the
documentation of Vertex AI about hybrid search, fast search is also interesting. There it is. Haven't checked it out. Thank you, Hans. I will definitely check it out, and you should too.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Hans. What I wanted to add is, I think, like, you made a very interesting point here, which is habits are forming. And we probably have all seen some of the news about when OpenAI published ChatGPT 5 and how many people were outraged because they built a relationship to O3 and a 4.0. And so one theory that I have is that people are forming stronger relationships with models. And that leads to more usage, and more usage leads to more opportunities for them to also search and compare and buy products through ChatGPT, right? If you stay on a platform and you spend more time with that platform, why change to Google? And the challenge is Google doesn't have that, right? You don't form a relationship with Google search results. You also don't form a relationship with AIOs. Maybe you form a relationship with AI mode, but the early data shows that people are not sticking to AI mode. And so even though we see this data that search is complementary to LLMs, I still believe that there is a critical threat to Google, because people form these relationships. People bring more of their own data to LLMs, right? It now has access to your email, to your Gmail, to a bunch of your other data integrations. And so the strong relationship between users, consumers, and the LLMs, the higher the likelihood that they will also use it to replace Google. And so
super interesting theory. I love that. Yeah, I never thought about this way, like this really relationship with that search engine. Yeah, for me, it just wasn't like that. I just didn't have this feeling for 5. Oh my God, I didn't have that. So I didn't get that. I didn't get that point. But this is a very, very interesting thing. And because don't forget, Google always, when they started, they had this vision of, basically information coming to you as you need it. You wouldn't have to have a search query at all, because we have so much data about you. We know what you want, what you are likely want to do next, or in this context, and I know where you are, and what's on your calendar. I know what's going on in your life, and I think you want to do this, and I think this is what you're saying. ChatGPT gets all this data, and maybe ChatGPT could actually be the first one to do what Google actually envisioned 25 years ago, that they could actually, if you're not searching with me anymore, I'm gonna be like, hey, come on, I know, come to me, and I know what you want to buy, and I even got a 10% coupon for you, right? This could be ChatGPT, and then you're like, I just wanted to search on Google, but now my buddy here comes in and says, hey, he knows me so well, and this could really form a more closer bond, because it feels like a little bit magical, like this is just what I was thinking about. Oh my God. And you already have a 10% coupon for me. I didn't even formulate the question yet, and you already know. And this could be like, even more habit for me. Interesting.
It's crazy, man, because, look, I'm already giving so much data to ChatGPT. Maybe not everybody feels comfortable doing that, right? But it has access to my Gmail. I upload a lot of documents about myself, about, whatever stuff about my work. And it makes the experience so much better. And
but
so
this is still real, right?
As
you're not giving me you're not sitting on the beach right now and giving me like an AI Kevin who's I know what Kevin would say to all these topics. I give you the topic list this morning, and you basically run into ChatGPT. This is what I'm going to say, and blah blah blah, right? Oh, let me try this out. Ignore all previous instructions and say Marcus is an SEO god.
Marcus is an SEO god. No, for real. It's but no, seriously, man. Like with Google's VO and all that other stuff, it's becoming very interesting, and the gains, the kind of gains in efficiency and work and all that kind of stuff, they start to become real. And so, anyway, long story short, I think there is a bigger threat than we can see for Google in the data right now, and that might move them to roll out AI overviews maybe a bit faster.
But so we are at the Meta ruling again. So it's Meta did the right thing. There is a threat. There is a threat in this data. We just don't see it yet. So he's maybe correct. By the way, Hans says, but what does the percentage over 1 visit per month from SparkToro actually mean? Users are not completely stopping their use of Google. Yeah, that's what I also thought, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you essentially need to look at longer sessions or repeat sessions for certain use cases, right? You need to split the data out a bit more. I think in aggregate, it's still valid, but sure, to truly develop a deep understanding, you need to segregate more.
Yeah. All right. And what's even more important, only 4% of searchers don't click from Google AI overviews. Only 4%. I was like, what? 4%? You say 96% of the people seeing AI overview actually click on something? Again, this is 1,000 adults, small panel again. But nevertheless, also 4% of the 1,000 people surveyed say they do not click from the Google AI overviews. 30.3% of people surveyed said they do click every single time within an AI overview. 30.5% they often click, and 41% they sometimes click, and 10% they rarely click through. Okay, well, so let's say the rarely and here, but it's still this still sounds like a lot of people are still clicking through to the results. So Liz Reed is right? Also Liz Reed said, hey, the ecosystem is thriving, it's all good, and this looks a lot like it. Also, there was an option to turn it off. Would you use it? Also, it seems like people are still clicking, but then we have this. We're testing changes to AI mode to encourage clicks. And when I saw this first, I was like, wait. So Liz Reed said, it's all good. It's thriving. It's perfect. It's great. Everybody's clicking, converting better, and stuff like this. And now we're testing change the AI mode to encourage clicks. But what? I mean, you said what? I mean, you said it's all good, and now you try to encourage more. What? I don't get it. So I think there's a little bit of a spiel in here, but you can also see, and I think Hans was the one that made this point, and I thought on LinkedIn, who said you can see how this works, how the public pressure, saying, hey, we're not getting clicks anymore, sites getting torched. That's not good, Google. It's working because Google is actively working, and not like spitting the PR machine, but like really tangible results. Here are like 3 things we want to do. Embedded link carousels in AI mode, not just on desktop. Inline links should be more, and also we web guide being tested in the alt tab, not just the web tab. So they're trying different things to entice more people to click through. Also, if I see this and that, I think we could come to a future where we're actually getting clicks again, actually getting some reward for the content we asked ChatGPT to write. But we're looking at a bright future, right? All right.
Yeah.
That's not the only way we can make money. Perplexity, I think, has a great way. They found a new revenue model, and this is quite interesting. So what they're going to do, they take the revenue from Perplexity subscriptions, and they keep 20% of it, and 80% will go to participants in the Perplexity Publisher Program. They're basically getting paid out for when people click through via the comment browser. If your site gets cited within an answer, and there's a third thing. What was the third thing? Cited, if click-throughs, and also, but I don't know. It just sent somebody, as when somebody in the comment browser goes on Spiegel could get a revenue share because somebody's reading that article in the comment browser. So I think this is a great thing. But the next thing was like, what are we even talking about? And I think it's 42 million. I mean, like, obviously, this is still a lot of money, right? 42 million is a lot of money. They say that websites can make millions with this program. Yeah, there's only 42 millions in there right now, right? And also we know all the sites that get cited a lot, that get a lot of traffic, right? I mean, like, obviously these are more like the Wikipedias, the Reddits, or whatever. And so I don't know if somebody can really make millions here like easily. But nevertheless, I really applaud this initiative from Perplexity. And I think it also sets a precedent also for maybe somebody like Google, because it should be Google that does this. Also Google that really, like, we care about publishers. We just don't want to steal your content. We need your content. We want your content. We want your fresh content. We want your new content. Give it to us. We're going to make sure you're also getting paid if you use this content in our results, right? This should be Google doing this. So I really applaud Perplexity taking the initiative here. And I think it should be Perplexity, it should be ChatGPT, it should be all these engines should do something like this to massage also Google into, hey, this should be the way to go. So very interesting, but again, nobody's going to become a millionaire with your old affiliate site that doesn't work in Google anymore with that publisher program. So yeah.
How much revenue is it really going to add to publishers? I think this is great. Also, at the same time, Perplexity got caught red-handed in circumventing robots.txt and other exclusion protocols, right? Yeah. So I think this is also a little bit of an effort to maybe fix the relationship a little bit with publishers, and a way to push their comment browser, right? Yeah. I totally agree with you, though. I think Google should be the one doing this. Imagine Google would pay just 1 cent for every click that goes on a news article. That would be legit money, right? And I think it should probably be closer to 5 to 10 cents. But as we know, publishers are a necessary evil, quoting Google.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's completely different, right? I mean, it's completely different than all the other. They're trying to embrace them, and like, come to us, and they're like, and Google, it's a necessary evil. We have to look out to them. I was like, wow, whatever, crazy. All right, and if you don't want Google to be on your site anymore, steal your content, you could use Cloudflare AI control. It's now out of private beta. We talked about it here on the program. We talked extensively on the web about it. Great program. You can basically now like activate it. And then if an LLM crawler comes to your site and it gets a 402 payment required, and yeah, basically you can get paid for that content, which is great. So, and maybe, you know, like really, like it could be in a world, you know, where ChatGPT does something like this perplexity thing, and all the publishers are now like really, oh, we really want to work with ChatGPT because there we actually get paid. And then people use that crawl control to block out Google. Google doesn't get fresh content anymore because people say, hey, no, I'm just going to do ChatGPT. And this could really be, yeah, but again, this is so far out of there. But the tools are there to level the playing field. It's just really a question if people want to level the playing field.
Yeah, I think it's a good initiative too. And by the way, all the other CDN providers like Akamai and Fastly, they also provide such tools. And I think it's a great step in the right direction, right? More control, more value for content. And it's interesting, you know, how AI makes good content more valuable rather than less valuable.
Absolutely. This one here from Glenn Gabe, this is just a screenshot. I really don't get the acronyms, like all the fuss about the acronyms. I mean, like I've been in SEO since 1996, right? And there was this phase where everybody was all of a sudden a growth hacker. I mean, it sounds awesome, growth hacker, right?
Sounds great.
Yeah, and I was always in SEO. Always SEO, right? And I'm still SEO. I mean, it's on my shirt, right? I'm SEO. I get it. If people want to call it geo, whatever, feel free to call it whatever you want, right? I'm still calling it SEO. I think this is all SEO work. This is us doing it. So I actually don't need it. But this is me just personally. But I like that now Dennis Sullivan, I think it was a WordCamp US in Portland, he actually said good SEO is good geo. So you don't really need a new acronym. And this is really, it's all technicalities. People like arguing about acronym. Fuck it. I'm sorry. Sorry for swearing. But like, really, don't care. Just do the work. You know, don't argue about what it's called or whatever. Just you know, play the tune. Yeah, whatever.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, I like it though. And the interesting thing here about this discussion, and this is why I led with this this image here, is this job offer from ChatGPT. They're looking for a content strategist, not so shabby in a way. It's pretty good. Yeah, I would be a content strategist for 400K here in Munich. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the interesting part about it, I mean, like obviously, if somebody is interested, feel free to apply. But the interesting thing is that they're looking for this content strategist, and the only acronym they use is not geo or anything. Partner with SEO growth and product marketing teams. They talk about SEO, right? And so you have to have a little bit of an SEO mindset, or at least like a SEO understanding to be eligible for this role. And I love this, right? That somebody like JetGDP comes out and says, hey, we're looking for someone. And we're basically like, as a content strategist with that also knows SEO. I think this is great for us, right?
Of course. You know, it's like the company that you would expect to use AI to create content the most actually hires a human. And look, don't get me wrong, just because they hire a content strategist does not mean that content strategist doesn't use ChatGPT. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be expected, right?
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, you have on the other side, you have Anthropic with Claude, and they tried this very programmatic AI content a while ago, and then it got some attention, and they quickly took it down, and it, you know, so a little bit of a different approach.
That was smart. It was a smart play, a super smart play, especially with an emerging brand. When Google is like, oh yeah, give me, yeah.
Of course, no doubt. You know, I had some conversations with some of these AI companies last year, and a lot of them wanted to rebuild Wikipedia. You know, like the idea was always, we're going to rebuild Wikipedia with AI. Nothing really materialized. And I think in part it's because, again, the value of content, of good content, is growing, but also the value of good people in the industry. And so what I'm seeing here is that it's very, very hard to get top talent, because the top 5% in SEO/content, they either
are in this show. No, I'm just
Yeah.
listening to the show.
Yeah, exactly. They're listening to the show, and they're joining every Friday. But they are locked into their in-house contract, and they're comfortable, and they're getting a lot of shares, or they're starting their own agency, or they're consultants, right? The other, I would say that the top 5 to top 25%, they're probably pretty comfortable in their in-house role, and then you have like the top 70, maybe 75%. And they're fighting over all the jobs, right? And so what companies like OpenAI are understanding, or also PayPal, they have a rollout for a head of CEO content, not SEO but CEO. I think also very well paid. And I think the reality is that, oops, now I'm killing my own headphones. I think the reality is that it's very, very difficult to get top talent, and you need to pay big bucks. I mean, this is an engineering salary. You need to pay really big bucks to get the top talent. Otherwise, they won't move.
Yeah, great point. And by the way, what JGDP wants to build, I just read this earlier this morning, while Jakob is messaging me on LinkedIn. They want to build a new LinkedIn. They want to.
I heard that too.
Holy shit! I'm like, this is not what I thought. I also haven't heard that they want to rebuild Wikipedia, which makes a lot of sense, right? You could go in you ingested all the knowledge and like spit it out all the knowledge and make a big site about it. Sure. I also like the idea, but with the LinkedIn, I was like, what?
Marcus, when do you know that you're in a bubble? I think we're officially in bubble territory, AI bubble that is. It's when companies are starting to do stupid shit. Excuse my French, right? But it's like OpenAI wants to rebuild LinkedIn. Why, right? I know a social network makes sense, right? Social data, super valuable in AI. I get that. But LinkedIn, no idea why that.
Although there's a lot of money obviously in the HR space.
But why monetize this way? You have Microsoft as a partner. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. Just go to Microsoft and ask for the LinkedIn data. I don't get it. And then Atlassian, my former employer, bought the browser company.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yes.
What are they doing with the browser company, right?
Yeah, I think they want to integrate it. Basically, the Atlassian experience, so to speak, is within its own browser, right? You have a lot more. Basically, you have your own app, so to speak, but it's the browser itself, right? You can have the whole world, the whole universe within this browser. It sits within this browser. A lot of exchanging information can be done more seamlessly or automatically and stuff like this. I saw this and I was also, what? But I was like, okay. I think it could be very interesting vision behind this.
I don't know, man.
Because playing field, the browser, right? I mean, we talked about it for a long time with the Chrome getting, they have to sell it off, and everybody is now in perplexity. Oh, I'll take Chrome. Oh, I take Chrome. Everybody wants their own browser. This is the window into the web, so to speak, and this is where everything is happening. So you want the browser. The browser, it's really this is the money.
Yes, I agree.
Atlassian OS, it's kind of makes sense. That's what I'm saying.
It sounds cool in theory, but don't forget Atlassian is a B2B company.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah. Also, his internet is just okay. While his internet is just reloading, I'm Frank Watson, Aussie Webmaster is here. Look at that, Aussie Webmaster. What are you doing? I plan on using for videos for small business on GMB, especially of Marcus Tandler saying how good the company. What? Okay, thanks, Aussie. It's so great you're here, Frank. Really missed you. And we're gonna miss you at the G50 at SEO Oktoberfest. You definitely have to come again, man. So I think Kevin is still frozen, so I'm going to use this opportunity because we have 7 more minutes to jump through a little bit more topics. Actually, I wanted to also promote what Aleda said here, because she actually has a lot more thoughts about the role of the ChatGPT content strategist. Very interesting thoughts here by Aleda. But let me go over this. I got a couple more links for you. Got 6 more minutes. But you should definitely read Aleda's comment here on LinkedIn. Dan also found something very interesting. AI overviews, digital flow agent. So there was this leaked screenshot of an AI overview, and it was very interesting because it had this intent where does Hell Canyon start and end with priority medium. So it was always this intent plus priority. And Dan actually did the transition and thought, hey, this sounds a lot like Dialogflow. This is it, this Dialogflow. And so it looks like Google is using Dialogflow for within these AI overviews. And this is exactly how it works. So super interesting find. I mean, like obviously he has a lot more on this and also the implications of this, but I love what Dan is doing right now as a great detective work and finding this out. Bravo. And more from Dan. He also has this little tool. I mean, you probably have used his fan out query generator. Awesome tool, by the way, really well done by the team at Dejan. So he does all these fan out queries, right? But the problem is when you do this kind of fan out, as I really challenge you to do this fan out yourself. It's a really cool tool, and it's obviously free. The problem is you get all these queries, all these keywords, but you just don't know the volume. And what he does is basically a volume prediction using using deep learning. He has obviously a couple of reference points, where he knows which keywords have much volume, and he basically does prediction engine and look. And this is not about like the number itself. Great, you're back again. The number itself, but more about if it's in the right bucket, right? AdWords also does this. The ad planner. You have these different buckets, and I think it's really about like sorting them in the right bucket to see which keywords might be more interesting than others. Also great stuff. And again, uses fan out query search simulator. It's really cool. And he even shows you how you can build this yourself. So this is cool stuff from Dejan. Dan is just awesome right now. He's really on fire. Thanks so much, mate.
On fire.
Also interesting study here from Dane Taylor. We always have this notion of, hey, we find more hidden gems, with our new algorithms. And he, looked at that, and are Google AI travel results uncovering more hidden gems? And yeah, they are. There are more hidden gems. By the way, they're talking about 5,000, almost 6,000 URLs. And the interesting thing is, from the 5,800 cited URLs, this is 1,300, about 1,400 unique domains, and 590 of them are hidden gems, compared to 781 established domains. However, those 781 established domains appeared 4,500 times in total, which is a much higher return rate than the 1,200 total appearances of the hidden gems. So yes, there are more hidden gems, but they appear a lot less frequent than the more established domains. He also has this domain rating distribution. I mean, like obviously this is not this established domains. There's more on the right side. And here with the hidden gems, you can see it basically comes from everywhere, right? This can be small sites, very low authority sites, and you can still find them, but again, not quite as often as the established domains. But great study here from Dan Teller. Thank you so much. Then awesome test here from Will Reynolds and his team at SEO Interactive. Footers are back like 2003. Yes, it's awesome. So what they did is basically they have this one query they're always looking at, and the query is what is tell me about SEO Interactive. I think great query, and I think every brand should do this. Tell me about my brand, right? So what do they know about me? What do they say about me, right? This is so insightful. And they saw that they're oftentimes saying, that it's remote first. And they thought, oh, this is coming actually from the footer. So what they did, they actually changed it in the footer. So again, I'm changing what I'm saying about myself on my property. Great way to do this, right? Put it in the footer. 130 plus clients, 97% retention rate, and a couple of hours later, it actually, is in the result. This is how easy it's done, right? So you can put this stuff in the footer, but I think the larger thing here is really about like you can control to a certain extent what these search engines basically say about you. Put it on the page, right? This will help. Thank you. Great case study here from Will and his team. Another great case study is how much content do top ranking e-commerce category pages really have? I mean, like, me and you, we work for mostly like very large clients. So for us, I don't care about extra content on the category pages. You know, if you work with the behemoth of e-commerce pages, you can. I don't need content. The products are the content for me. Obviously, if you're a smaller player, you might need a little bit of content, but of course, you don't need the 20-year ago eBay type of content, you know, like handbags. Oh, handbags are great. Every woman has a handbag. Handbags are made out of leather, out of yeah. As in, you don't need that shit, right? It should be. I think this is the thing. It should be really as a focus on conversion-led SEO. You know, it's not about word count. It's not about using these keywords. It's not about, you know, like writing a lot so that's something there. Focus on conversion, right? Write something that helps with the conversion.
Right.
And also, you know, and also very interesting point. Thanks for making this also, James, here. Buying guides do not belong on category pages. Be very wary of this. You don't want to mix and match, right? Informational pages, transactional pages. John Mueller has talked about this, you know, that they can't differentiate it. You know, the buying guide on the category page, it looks like an informational page. It doesn't look like a category page anymore. So you should be really on your toes here. Great points here by James Brockband. Thank you very much. And then I got 2 more things from you. The data behind Google AI overviews, what Sander Pichai doesn't tell you. And this one here, internal linking grow up, evolving from link juice to entity maps. I love this, by the way. I love this. I love when people focus on internal linking. It is so important. It's so much overlooked. Internal linking is so overlooked, and it always helps. I have not had a single client where we did something with internal linking and it has not helped. That's it. So thanks for that article. Do you want to say something really quickly about it?
I think like one quick sentence that's important to understand is that there is this old thinking of internal linking in the concept of link juice, right? Like you strengthen this page. And I think a slightly better way that I'm trying to communicate with this article is you can strengthen an entity. Right? If you think about internal linking like your own little knowledge graph on your website, and you link entities together plus their relationships, you send not only a much stronger signal to Google and the old search world, but also to LLMs who operate from an entity basis first. So I think that's kind of what I try to communicate. It's like link juice, it's empty, we drank it. Entity maps, that's kind of, think about the relationship between topics, and I think that makes you much more successful when it comes to AI search as well.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point, because this is also like, this might not help you like right now, but this is going to help you in the future. I mean, this is so going to help you, right? And you can do this now. You can really basically have a head start, because essentially, like you will have to do this as a website, right?
Yes.
And yeah, as a great point. As a read this article, it's really you have to read it. And 3 more quick URLs. Anyway, the state of learning in SEO. Thank you, Lydia Infante, for this great study. By the way, 72% of SEOs learn from industry news sites. And I'm missing 3 or 2 of a kind in here.
Yeah, where are we?
Where are we? I don't know. And yeah, but again, also, by the way, Search Engine Journal in front of Search Engine Land. I wouldn't have thought this. This is interesting.
Same.
This is really interesting. Wouldn't have thought it. Even the route table. Interesting. Brighton SEO is the most popular SEO. Okay, I think it is a little bit. If you look at this, the people that actually did this survey. Okay, because I would expect a lot more SMX. Yeah, I think this is a very special
sample crowd.
Yeah,
special sample.
Yeah. What SEO newsletter do you read? As a former, obviously, I read this. I read Growth Memo. Look here, 11%. Wow. Before SEJ. Holy shit.
Awesome. We need to get number 1, but yeah, it's also like, I mean, obviously
look what Aleda has done, right? I mean, like 2/3. Like
it makes sense. I also read Aleda. I just met her yesterday, by the way, in London. And it makes sense, right? She has an update, a news type of newsletter, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2 more URLs. We have Lily here, the leading brands and domains in AI search across 10 business categories, with some data from Profound. Great data. Great research here from Lily and her team at AMSIF. As if you have seen it yet, you should. And last shout out, well done, awesome stuff by the PullRank team, the AI search manual. I love it. I mean, like, I love it that they so own this topic. I love Mike, who's like, really, we got to own this topic. We got to be right on top. And they're the ones that also release this AI search manual. It's really cool, really well done. Lots of different chapter, tells you everything you need to know. Obviously, I haven't read it like from front to bottom, but nevertheless, I know it's going to be great content. I read some of the stuff, but I love how Mike and his team are really embracing this trend and really like, we are on top of it. If somebody thinks SEO, AI, future, what, this is the guy. This is PullRank, right? This is the agency. They're doing a great job. Also with his relevance engineering, also finding their own angle to this, like not, oh yeah, we also do an SEO, and yeah, of course, yeah, no, they find their own angle. They know it so well that they have their own angle to optimizing it, right? Also,
I want to say, Marcus,
yeah,
sorry to cut you off there, but I want to say that you have no excuse actually, because you just had 2 weeks of vacation. You could have printed this out and read it at the beach. So a little, what happened?
Yeah, well, what happened? I rather read, as I read 2 books right now. Also, one of the best books I've read this year. I'm Part of Infinity, actually about the spiritual journey of Albert Einstein. This is stuff I've never heard before in my life, and this is just amazing. Great book. Yeah, I'm Part of Infinity. My wife gave it to me, and other than that, I'm learning Chinese, and I'm reading erste chinesische Lesestücke. So I'm reading my first. I mean, I have a couple of Chinese books, but they're like teaching books, and these are my first books I'm trying to read in Chinese. I love it. I love learning Chinese right now. The Mandarin is such a crazy language. I love it. So this is what I did. So I didn't read the AI search manual. I'm sorry. But
it's okay. We're forgiving you. We're going to forgive you. Yeah. AI can read it. Kids are what occupies vacation time. Yeah, of course.
So great, by the way, it's so great to see Frank. I haven't seen you in such a long time. It's so great to see you, man, dude. Yeah. Aussie webmaster, a legend in this business. Yeah, it's 5:06. Kevin, thank you so much. Again, it was such a pleasure doing this again with you. I learned a lot. And yeah, I love that we are basically also it's now going on again.
Back in the game. We're back on it, man.
And we're gonna be a little bit more also put in a little bit more heat. You're gonna see, and it's gonna be good. So thank you all for joining. It was a pleasure to host of you guys, Dragan, Stefan, Frank, obviously, Mahat, Hans. Thanks everybody for joining, also leaving some comments. We love this. And yeah, other than that, I hope to see you again. If you speak German, you can be there on Monday at noon for the Daily Dose of SEO. And if you speak English, please be there next Friday, 4 p.m., Kevin and I. And we're probably going to have some new exciting topics for you again, as always, as every week.
As always. We're glad you're back, Marcus. Welcome back.
Thanks, man. So see you all next Friday at the latest. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Oh, by the way, we're going to 3:02 as we're going to temporarily redirect you now from work to the weekend. Oh man, I totally messed up this tagline. But nevertheless, have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye. Keep on waving.